Hello, hello, welcome, good evening. I'm your host, Dr. Ericka, and I am beyond excited for what we have for you tonight because you know what? This is the last episode of Growth Group with Dr. Ericka for 2020. So I want to make sure I brought you something great. So I had to think a second, and I ended up coming up with a series of 4, and the first one is going to be tonight. So we're going to be talking about principles to put 2020 behind you and make 2021 count. Yes, today we're going to start a series that's going to talk about how you can make 2021 a really great year, to make it a better year, to make it a good year, to make it a year that you can embrace and not be feeling like you did in 2020, where most people were just waiting and hoping and wishing that the year would end. So I am so excited. So tonight's topic is going to be forgiveness. We have 4 topics. One will be forgiveness. We have acceptance. We have acknowledgement. We have all kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff. So I am so excited. Oh, and gratitude. That's the 4th one. So they're going to be spread out over 4 nights. I'll put up there when we'll do them. But I'm really excited to bring this content to you. So I want to go ahead and get in it because I'm not trying to keep you here all night. As you see, I'm still in the loo. So we're still at Mama's house. So this is Mama's house. This is my last night at Mama's house. So to show my own gratitude, since I don't have a lot of time I'll be able to spend with my mom, as much as I love spending quality time with you, I'm going to be brief so I can spend some time with her before I drive out in the morning and head back to Atlanta and hopefully miss some of this winter weather. I hope it's warmer there, but I haven't had to check the weather. I don't know if it's warmer there. So we're going to start with a couple housekeeping tips, and then we're going to get right into it. First housekeeping tip is, if you know someone that needs this message, tag them. Next thing, if you know someone that needs this message or would benefit from it, share it. Sharing is caring. And if you want to be super fancy, you can start a watch party. The last thing is, if you're watching it later, don't even worry about it. I'm happy you came. So just put hashtag replay in the comments, okay? Deal? All right. So let's go ahead and get this party started. Well, one of the things I want to make sure that we cover is the fact that we're in this holiday season. It's still going on. Our last of the holidays for 2020 is coming up soon. We'll have New Year's Eve, and then New Year's Day technically is in 2021. And one of the things I wanted to make sure is that I bring you some useful tools so that you can go into 2021 feeling hopeful. Because one of the things that happens a lot of times is when we're feeling anxious, or we're feeling distressed, or we're feeling distraught, or sad, worried, angry, mad, all of these emotions can mix together. And you can have times where you're just not feeling well. And that could reach the level of which it would become what we would call one of those diagnosable mental health issues. Or there are times where people just don't feel like themselves, but they don't necessarily meet what we would call clinical criteria for depression or one of the depressive disorders, because actually we don't have an illness that we call depression. Depressed mood is a symptom, but we have numerous kinds of depressive disorders, before things reach the level of having something like bipolar or having a diagnosable anxiety disorder. There are a lot of emotions in between that where you cannot feel like yourself and not necessarily have a high level mental health issue. So I would just want to put you in the best place that you can pull as much positivity in and be able to move forward. So one of the things that is a really good principle that has to do with kind of emotionally is forgiveness. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it today, because forgiveness is one of those things that it can be key to letting go. And as we've talked about, and even I talk about it with my patients, is there are times where we hold on to things. And I know we keep talking about the theme of holding on to things that we can't change or we can't do anything about. And one of the reasons forgiveness is a big one with that is when we hold on to these things that we can't forgive, we can't move through them. I'm not a fan. Sometimes people say get over things. Sometimes you don't get over, you just find a way to move through them. And what can happen is when we hold on to all of this energy of all these ways we have felt that we have been wronged or we have wronged ourselves, is that just pulls in all this negative energy, and those feelings then shift into dysphoria or depressed mood or anxiety or irritability. And if they snowball too big, then you get to the point where then you do have a depressive disorder or you have an anxiety disorder. So my thing is let's work on those things that we can change. You know, we have the serenity prayer, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Well, just like there are things we cannot change, there are things we can change, or ways we can change how we react to things. So I want to give that to you. So the first thing we're going to talk about is, a lot of times we talk about forgiving other people, but one of the main people we hold on stuff to, and we hold on to it tight. So we hold on to feeling frustrated, disappointed, or upset with ourselves over our own actions and choices. And holding on to all of that frustration with ourselves holds us back. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is, because the myth is we often talk about forgiveness in the context of forgiving someone else, is that one of the biggest people we have to forgive are ourselves. Because just like we can't change what other people do, we can't change what happened in the past, we can't change the decisions we made before. So at some point we have to forgive ourselves so that we can move forward. We can still take those lessons and not make those mistakes and make those choices again. But you have to forgive yourself. It is critical. And this is a time where we're all dealing with a lot of imperfection in ourselves, because we're dealing with so many different emotions and challenges. And quite frankly, a lot of the challenges we're dealing with are new challenges. So naturally, just like we wouldn't expect someone that has never really run before to run a marathon, I can't, and we can't expect ourselves to do something extremely well that we've never done before. So just like we might not know skills, a lot of this day-to-day thing, these are skills too. So while we've been dealing with the pandemic and how to manage with how things have changed, and there are so many choices we make, invariably we're going to make some choices that aren't right. And not just with the pandemic, just with life. For a lot of us, we are adulting. So sometimes we may make wrong choices when it comes to jobs. We may make decisions when it comes to love. We can make decisions with our priorities and then realize, oh, I should have done that work, or I should have done the housework, or I should have done this laundry, or I shouldn't have let this stuff lay out, or how did I not put my groceries up and something went bad? There are so many things, you know, or I should have been working out, but I didn't, and now I'm fluffy. There are a million things that we all do that aren't always the best. But I want to say how important it is for us to forgive ourselves. And yes, I agree. You know, it doesn't work that great when we say get over it. The next thing is it's important to forgive others. It's not doing any of us any good if we hold on to all of this energy about what other people did. Because in fact, we can't control other people. We can only control how we react to it. And when we end up getting caught up in all of this expectation that someone do something different, or even this expectation that people apologize, and not only do they apologize, we want them to apologize the way we want them to apologize, don't we? Is that we're holding on, waiting for something that may or may not happen. And I don't know about you, have you ever had times where someone apologized, it didn't actually make you feel better? So we have to forgive others because we don't want to hold on to that. Because one of the things that happens when you hold on to all of this frustration and upset about other people is then it can expand, it can grow, and it can turn into, you know, one of the worst case scenarios is when it blooms and it just grows and grows and it turns into hate. And a lot of that is just so destructive, that anger, that frustration, that sadness, that it becomes all consuming, and it doesn't do you any good. It can affect your physical health and your mental health. And one of the reasons it's important to remember all of this is forgiveness is a gift to yourself. When you're forgiving someone, the only time it is a totally gift to yourself, you forgive yourself. But when you're forgiving other people, it's still a gift to yourself, because you're not necessarily forgiving the other person to help them out. Hold on. Mama, can you get the door? Oh, sorry. I know, this is the Mama Chronicles. She's sewing, and I don't know if you can hear it. So we have the Mama Chronicles. But it's important because it's a gift to you. It's going to release you. It releases you emotionally. Because I see this all of the time with my patients and my coaching clients, is that it's a situation where they're holding on to something that somebody else did, but the person it's holding back is them. That they're, and we, because this has happened to me personally, you're all upset over what somebody did. And what are they doing? They are living their life like it's golden. They are living their best life. They aren't going back and forth with anybody because they're living. And you're sitting around torn up, upset, frustrated, sad, crying, mad, doing whatever you were doing, possibly even having negative relationships because of these feelings. And the other person has gone on, and the only one hurting is you. So one of the reasons forgiveness is a gift to yourself is it releases you from the mental and emotional burden of holding on to that anger and frustration. And that's one of the biggest things you can do for yourself, is it frees you from that. There is enough to be stressed about. There's enough going on that's going to stress you. Why add something you don't need to be stressed about anymore? And I'm not saying get over it. You don't have to be happy with people because you forgave them. But walking around pissed off or mad or ready to punch them every time you think about them. Because I know everybody has an ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend at one point that when you broke up, you were thinking every time you thought about them, you think about what it would be like to punch them in the face. It just happens. It's life. But you have to be able to get to a point where you can release that energy and forgive, so it's a gift to you. So that's what we're talking about today. We are talking about forgiveness. It's the first of the principles that we're going to be talking about out of these. It's actually 4 principles that are going to help you move past 2020 and make 2021 count. And yes, a lot of times people have moved on and forgotten about things, and we're still holding on to them. So we're going to do a quick recap, then get you out of here. So if you know anybody that needs this, please tag them. If you know anybody that needs this, you can share. The last thing is, if you're watching it later, don't even worry about it. Just put #replay in the comments, and we will keep it moving. Let me know how you feel about forgiveness. Is there anyone you feel like you need to forgive? So what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead, go back to the top, take it down. So the first thing we talked about, the importance of forgiving yourself. It's the person we oftentimes forget to forgive, and holding on to all that energy and frustration about ourselves. All it does is hold us back, and it's just brutal on the self-esteem. And it puts people in places that a lot of times when you don't forgive yourself, you can have what's called, there's something that we talk about called negative cognitive distortions. It's kind of like when, have you ever heard the term looking at things through rainbow colored glasses? It's like the opposite. If you have gray, that everything you see the worst case scenario. And a lot of times when you hold on to all these feelings about yourself or negative views about yourself, you start to internalize them, which makes you more prone to be anxious or depressed, or even be irritable because you're just so unhappy with yourself. The next is, it's important to forgive others. We need to forgive ourselves and forgive others. And part of it is just, number one, because it's just not doing you any good. It's not doing you any good. And it's probably not helping your relationships. It's not helping your interactions. It's not helping your ability to trust. And we trust in so many ways. We trust at home. We trust with our families. We trust with, whoever our significant others. We trust with our friends. There are trust relationships at work. And a lot of times when we have these feelings of feeling betrayed or hurt, it impacts our ability to trust and build healthy interpersonal relationships, which are important for us to be able to function personally and professionally. And one of the reasons we need to be able to forgive others is forgiveness is a gift to ourselves. Naturally, when we forgive ourselves, we let go of the weight to let ourselves fly. But when we forgive others, it's still a gift to ourselves because we unburden ourselves of the weight of all the negative energy we are bringing to ourselves by having all these negative feelings and emotions about someone else. So it's a gift for ourselves. I want to think we saw Bishop Desmond Tutu, and he said, forgiveness isn't for wussies. But it takes a lot of strength, but it's very important because it releases you of the emotional burden. And that emotional burden can actually cause you to be more depressed or anxious or irritable or angry. And none of those serve you better. And my goal is to help you be better so you can do better and ultimately live better. And forgiveness is one of those things that it sounds simple. Sometimes it's hard to do. But the payoff is huge. It is huge. And yes, forgiveness is a way that we manifest the light, the God in us, all of those kinds of things. So it's a beautiful thing. So that's kind of what we have up tonight. So we're talking about forgiveness. I am so blessed that you decided to spend quality time with me tonight as we start wrapping up this year. As I said, this is part of a 4-part series about principles to put 2020 behind you and make 2021 count. I want to make sure everyone has a great next year. Again, I am your host, Dr. Ericka, Harvard-trained, double board-certified psychiatrist and integrative lifestyle coach. I'm irrationally passionate about helping people be better so they can do better and ultimately live better. I do this through my adult telepsychiatry practice, my books including Fix Your Fairy Tale, A Woman's Guide to a Great Life, Love, and Legacy, along with my speaking. And guess what? I'm speaking now. And I want to let you know, if you're just feeling stressed, not feeling like yourself, or just feeling out of sorts, or just want a little mental health checkup, you can always go to my link below to get a complimentary consult at AskDrGoodwin.com, AskDrGoodwin.com. Right now I'm seeing people in Georgia, Tennessee, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Arizona, and California. So I am so happy to be here tonight. I am excited to see what this new year has in store for all of us. I appreciate you spending time with me. I look forward to continuing to connect. You can always come on over to my community, Butterflies with Dr. Ericka. I'm always excited to have you there. We talk about some more things there. So you can go to butterfliesgroup.co to see that. And that's all I got for you. I want to let you go, but I want to just say thank you so much. I won't be on tomorrow because it is a travel day. As I said, I'm hitting the road. I'm doing on the road again. But thanks again and have a great night. And please be safe. Oh, and don't forget your usual prescription. Call at least one person and